Brother Nashi, how are you? Please post my story as hidden identity. I want people to know about what I am going through and the fight that I am fighting. It is a spiritual battle. I am not looking for any sangoma to assist me, as I have been hearing that there are those that come here looking for sangomas. I am fighting my own battles, and I hope that other Christians out there, they will assist me, even though they don't know me personally, but in the spirit, their prayers will be directed to me in helping me so that I can defeat the devil. I was a young woman. I was preparing for my big day. I am a daughter of a pastor. My father is a well-known pastor where we come from. I grew up in the church, and all that we did growing up was reading the Bible. And when your father is a pastor, we tend to think that we are protected from the devil. And when you are always reading the word of God, you automatically think that you are protected because you are always reading the word of God. And I thought that I was protected by my father's prayers. It was in 2015 I then met the man of my dreams. He was a deacon in the same church, and he was a hard-working man, and we were so much in love. We wanted to get married quickly, but we did not have a lot of money. My father always taught us to be humble and not to live beyond our means. And when two people have suddenly fallen in love, if it is love at first sight, those people, there is nothing that you can tell them. We wanted to quickly get married to each other because, as for me, as a woman, I felt it in my body that it was time I needed a man. And my husband-to-be, he also said that it was time. He felt that he wanted to be with a woman because he had never slept with a woman in his life. So we said that if we do not get married as quickly as possible, we will end up sinning before God, the sin of adultery, sleeping with a person that you are not legally married to. So we had to quickly find a way to get married so that we can be husband and wife and we can go on our honeymoon and just enjoy. When it came time to find a wedding dress, I went to different luxury boutiques, and the prices, they made my head spin. If you have ever stepped inside of a shop and you are looking at the price tags, sometimes you can even have a headache because of the price that you will be looking at. That is exactly what was happening when I went to that boutique. I saw wedding dresses that were expensive, 25,000, 40,000 rand for a dress that I would only wear for 8 hours. Then I would return it back to that boutique. I said, no ways. That is money that is enough for you to buy a car. I told my fiance and I said, honey, no. Let us be smart. I will find something beautiful but still affordable. That is how I ended up in a small, cramped up secondhand shop somewhere in Johannesburg CBD. It was a place that they sold a lot of old stuff, like old stuff everywhere. And then I saw this beautiful wedding gown. It was so nice and I liked it. From the time that I saw it, I said, this is the one. Even though it was old, this wedding dress, it looked as if it was brand new. It just needed a little bit of dry cleaning here and there, and we were going to be set. And me and my husband will get married, and we would have saved a lot of money. So then I spoke with the owner of the shop. She was an old lady, but she was white, but she had other black people that she was working with. And then she said, I could buy the dress from her or I could rent the dress from her. And you know how much I ended up buying this dress for? 3,000, coming from a shop where they had charged me 25 to 40,000 for a wedding dress that I was just going to rent. And this lady, she was saying that I could have this wedding dress for 3,000. This felt like I had found a treasure. I did not ask why. The woman did not even tell me the story behind this dress. If I had known that this dress, it had some demonic connections, I was never going to pick up that dress. All that I saw was something that was cheap. I saw a bargain, and I did not know that I was inviting a demonic entity that was going to fight for me and has been fighting against my marriage for the past 11 years. And for the past 11 years, my marriage has been like a nightmare. I picked up my dress. The day of the wedding arrived. It was beautiful, and we had a garden wedding. But the moment that I put that dress on in the church, the things that I started to feel, there was something that was wrong with me. As I was walking, I felt as if there was someone that was sitting on my shoulders. This dress, it felt heavy, extra heavy. And one thing that I could not understand, the moment that I put on that dress, I felt that I was now on my period. I don't know how it happened, but I just felt like I was on my period. I was not nervous, really. Of course, a little bit, because this was my big day. But for me to say that I was so much nervous and afraid that I was going to be on my period because I was nervous, it was impossible. And I felt as if there was someone that was walking inside of me. Instead of feeling happy that this was my wedding day, Brother Nashi, I just felt sad. And when a demon is about to possess you, the first thing that happens to you is you feel sad. This sudden sadness will come over you. You will become depressed. On my wedding day, throughout the day, I was depressed. I tried to smile, but in my soul, there was a war already that was happening. It was spiritual warfare that had started already from the time that I put on that wedding dress. I managed to shake it off, thinking that maybe it was me just being nervous. But as the day was going forward, I knew that there was something that was wrong, but I could not understand what was happening. My father prayed for me and my husband, and as my father was praying for me, I felt as if there was someone that came and poured hot water on top of me, right on the place where my father was holding me as he was praying for me and my husband. Since we had done our wedding on a budget, we did not go like to an expensive place for our honeymoon. We went to a lodge. This was in Mpumalanga, a nice place for our honeymoon. I brought the dress with me because I wanted to take professional photos there in the mountains. The first night, my husband and I, we were happy, but when we went to sleep, Brother Nashi, I woke up and I saw something that terrified me. I had hung the dress in the wardrobe, but when I woke up, Brother Nashi, the dress, it was on the bed. It was something that I could not explain. My husband, I asked him, and I asked him several times, did you touch the dress? And he said no. Did you touch the dress? And he said no. And I thought that maybe he was playing some kind of a prank on me, since I was feeling a little bit of pain because we had been fighting with each other when we started making love. You know how it is like on your first night, it never goes according to plan. All of that love that you have for each other, the moment that you do it, you forget it and you become like enemies. So I did not want to ask a lot of questions. I just begged him to return back the dress where he had taken it, but he protested, even though he took it and he put it back in the wardrobe. But he said, I did not touch this dress. You are the one who took the dress and you put it and you forgot it to put it back into the wardrobe. We slept. The devil, I am pretty sure that by then he was laughing at me and my husband. The moment that we fell fast asleep, that was when I heard a sound as if there was someone that was walking in the room which I was sleeping in with my husband. When I woke up, I screamed, Brother Nash, because I saw a woman, and this woman, she was wearing white, a white dress, like it was a morning gown that she was wearing. It was white, and then she disappeared. When I screamed, my husband also woke up, and then he said, "What is it? What is it?" He thought that maybe there were armed robbers that had entered into the room, and I said, "No, there are no armed robbers, but look." And I showed him the dress. The dress, it was on top of the bed, just like what had happened when I had woke up a couple of minutes before that. And he said, "What kind of a game are you playing? I just returned this dress into the wardrobe, but you took it back." He could not believe it. And I told him that there was a spiritual attack that was happening. As for my husband, at first, he did not want to believe that we were now going through a spiritual attack. We prayed and we prayed and we went back to sleep, and it did not happen again. But I kept on having dreams. I was always seeing this white woman that will be walking in my house, because when we returned back, me and my husband, we worked and we worked, and then we managed to get our house on bond. And when I would be fast asleep, my husband, sometimes he would be snoring and I would wake up. And when I would have woken up, I would hear that there is someone that is sweeping or mopping or even just singing as they are cleaning the bathroom. There were times when I would hear someone being busy in the kitchen, and when I would wake up my husband, that noise, it will just stop. It will just stop as if there was nothing that was happening. So me and my husband, we started to fight, and I had a dream. In my dream, I saw a woman, and this woman, she was brought into my house by that white woman who turned out to be the owner, who was the owner of this wedding dress, but she had since passed away. This lady, she was a white African woman, but she brought a black woman, a ghost, into my house. I had a dream. I was fast asleep, and then I saw two women. They were entering into my house. The way that they entered into my house, they flew into the house and they flew directly to the bedroom. It was so scary the way that they were moving in the air. Both of them, they were naked. Then the black woman, she was standing behind the white woman, and it was as if she was afraid of me. I then asked the white woman, and I said, "Who is that lady that you have brought into my home?" And then she said, "This one is the rightful wife to your husband." And then both of them, they started to laugh. My husband, he woke up. Let me give you the whole details of the story, Brother Nash, that happened in my dreams. My husband, he woke up and he was sitting on a chair. In my bedroom, we had a chair that we used to keep, and we had a desk because at night I would be reading some stuff because I was furthering my education. My husband, he woke up and he first sat on the edge of the bed. When he was sitting on the edge of the bed, then that woman came and she bent over and she inserted my manhood into a private part, and they started to have sexual intercourse. And then they moved from the bed. This is the scariest part. When I woke up, I saw my husband. He was sitting on the chair. He was fast asleep, but he was sitting on the chair. Yet he had been sleeping all along right next to me during the time when I was having that dream. I felt my husband, he was right next to me. So after my husband, he had gone and sat on the chair, that woman followed and she came on top of him and they continued to enjoy. And even my husband, the way that he was enjoying, as if this was the original wife. I woke up, I saw my husband sitting in the chair. I ran and I switched on the light, and I saw that my husband, his manhood, the way that it was hard, I had never seen it like that hard ever since we had gotten married. My husband, he was also shocked. He asked me how come he was sitting on the chair. I told him about the dream and we prayed together. He also told me that he was having a dream where me and him, we were having sexual intercourse at the time when I was also having that dream, but I saw that there were two women that were in my bedroom. On the outside, we would go to church. We are like a perfect couple, but behind closed doors, we will start to fight. The intimacy, it died ever since that woman was brought into my house. I would see her in my dreams. She would be sleeping with my husband. And when I would try to touch my husband, he would get so mad at me for no reason at all. We have fought over things that don't make sense. We have had 11 years of fighting. I have had 3 miscarriages. Each time when I have these miscarriages, it is because we would have fought really bad, and my husband will become so cruel towards me. He would say things that are so painful, and then I'll just lose the pregnancies because of the pain that I'll be feeling in my heart. When it comes to money, we can lose money, but Brother Nashi, I told my husband that you are not going to divorce me no matter what. I am going to pray for this marriage until everything is going to be okay, and till death do us apart, and even after. I told my husband. So I have been praying. My marriage, it is just a battlefield. I am always fighting with the devil 24/7, non-stop. Me and my husband, we are still sharing the same bedroom. You know, for me to sleep with my husband, sometimes I fast 2 3 days, then my husband, he will touch me. If I go for a month without fasting, my husband, he won't even touch me. And when I touch him, you will see that his manhood is not working. But when I see him in my dreams, even when he tells me that he is always having these wet dreams, he says that it is something that he can't describe, but the feeling that he has when he is making love to a woman that looks like me in my dreams, the feeling, it makes him to feel so amazing. But I have been telling him to also fast because this is like a demonic entity. So I'm just cautioning other people out there. You can go and you can buy secondhand clothes, but you don't know what is the story behind the clothes that you are buying. As for me, I regret shame. If I had listened to my father and waited and to be patient, and God was going to do it in his own time. But Brother Nashi, we did not wait for God to do it in his time. We wanted something that was quick, quick. So here we are. This is what happened because we wanted to cut corners, and we ended up buying second-hand wedding dresses. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Let us speak with our dear sister in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.